Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Market Briefing, Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. Hope you're doing well out there. We got lots to get to. Let's open up with the war before we get to the ISM manufacturing report and various cash news, company news, companies raising cash, all that good stuff. Trump says a deal could happen within a week to open the strait. The Iranians saying, nah. Trump talking to ABC apparently had a very heated exchange with young BB, old BB, yesterday. Ben, we can get into what's been said, but why would a listener out here now think this is going to happen in the next week?
Well, Iran was saying that we're not talking, and then Trump had his call, and then basically said, everyone hates you to BB. No one likes you. You need to be thankful and say thanks. And then Trump went to Iran, said, sort it out. Israel's not going to be going into Lebanon. And so that was the little glitch, but we sorted the glitch out. And now he says we're looking good on a deal. So that would be the positivity. The other piece is I think that we're still kind of getting aligned on some of those last talking points. And we talked about it on Friday about why we think the deal might be getting close. The prediction markets have gone the other way. But I still think that there is a chance here. I mean, it has to happen because all of this is happening where we're pushing up against right now. Trump is feeling pretty good. The bond markets have calmed down a little bit. Besant's probably feeling a little bit better about life now that we're well below the 450 level. I think we're down to 443 today, Tom.
We are at a 443.4 on the 10-year.
And the stock markets are at pretty much all-time highs. So all good on that front on the surface level, but I think that we're starting to push a little bit in terms of how much the market's going to be able to take. So I'm interested to see what happens there. Oil's contained for the moment, but again, prediction market saying that a deal is less likely. I think that cannot continue to persist like that.
Some fiery quotes from the call with Netanyahu. Trump saying you're freaking crazy. That was a substitution there. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. They said that Trump said he was pissed and at one point said, what the F are you doing? So no more Mr. Nice Guy.
I mean, I think the wildest thing that's come out of this, other than the rampant anti-Semitism across these United States, is that we can't let, even if they're an ally, and it's important to have allies, and I would argue that Israel is a good ally to have, given that every other part of the Middle East is against us, and certainly against them, is that we need to be working in the same direction. You can't have your ally, walk into the bar and just start punching people, because now you're in a situation where you're in a bar fight. And you didn't want to be in a bar fight. You wanted to go in there and negotiate opening up the beer taps. Let's get the liquid flowing, and then your young protege just starts punching people in the gut, for no reason. And so I think
he's punching the bartender.
Yeah, he's punching the bartender. And so this is what we need to do: is we need to get them in line. It's like, or you can't be our ally anymore, and you're on your own. If these people want to start firing rockets at you, by all means, we will sell you weapons, but we're not going to start We're not going to start fighting the bartender. And so I think that's we need our allies to be good allies, and I think that Israel has been an unreliable ally. And while it's important for us to respect our alliance, there's got to be
more alignment.
Yeah, there's got to be limits here to what they can and can't do, and it seems like they just continuously are causing problems.
Do you think this happened, or do you think this? A, do you think this happened? B, do you think if this happened, this was intentionally leaked?
It happened phone call? And it was leaked intentionally.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I think
it's posturing. I don't disagree with anything Tom is saying. I would also say, though, it's quite advantageous politically for Trump to know that, for us to know that Trump feels this way.
And for Iran to know that.
Yeah.
The narrative, particularly around those who are on the right, who are now breaking with Trump, is that, Israel and AIPAC are leading Trump around by the nose. And we need to, in order for that narrative to be squashed, you need some indication that is not the case. And letting Netanyahu do whatever he wants and drop bombs on whoever he wants while we're trying to negotiate peace is not helping. And so I think that we need to put the kibosh on that as soon as possible, because, I mean, otherwise you're just feeding into that narrative, which is not politically or, I mean, really globally beneficial to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the conversation did happen. I definitely think it was intentionally leaked. ISM manufacturing came in yesterday, been relatively positive.
Yeah, definitely surprised to the upside. New orders accelerated the best since early 2022. People are still whining about prices, but prices actually decelerated from where they were last month. They were 84.6 last time around, 82.1 this time around. The expectation was that was actually going to go up. So good news on that front relative to expectations. New orders also surprised to the upside. Good thing, too, was employment went up, making April seem a little bit more of an anomaly. Still in contraction, but the manufacturing side of the economy definitely holding up a lot better than the services side of the economy in terms of employment. So that's all good. Some of the quotes saying that we've seen increased demand that was unexpected from the machinery sector. Other people in chemical products saying they're seeing a 15% sales increase in April. This is not just price, by the way. This is, total revenue going up 15%. So they remain cautiously optimistic that if global economic factors stabilize and, importantly, the Iran conflict ends, we can continue with increased sales and maintain acceptable margins. There are some concerns about higher diesel prices and price increases throughout the industry, particularly in memory pricing on the electronic side. There's concern that price hikes in the memory side are going to be more than customers can bear. So that's kind of an offset. But overall, a better than expected manufacturing print following kind of an anomalous April print that we thought we were going to see a little bit more positivity in April than we did. And I think that was just kind of a survey issue. We're back to a positive trend on manufacturing here in May.
Which is definitely good news.
Yeah, because we got the Cleveland Fed survey, was it 2 weeks ago? And it sort of indicated that data was starting to fall off.
Yeah,
quite
the Philly.
Yeah. Philly, okay, got it.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like we had a really strong New York, which is an early month read. Then we had a weak Philly read. And then we had a strong Richmond read at the end of the month. And so I was like, I don't really know what's going to happen. April was kind of weird on the headline number. But it's nice that normal services kind of resumed here.
Google.
And also, sorry, we also got SIA LTL numbers this morning, and that further cements this. It saw acceleration in the month of May over April, which would support this ISM manufacturing number.
Good stuff. Google down about 3%. They're raising $80 billion of equity. Not necessarily a massive drop in the bucket compared to their market cap, but anytime a company of this size goes to the capital markets, you kind of wonder, hey, what's going on? What's the demand for cash?
This is a 1 out of 1 situation in my career, by the way.
Yep.
I've never seen this before. This is a stunning equity. This company should not be having to raise equity capital, plain and simple. And they're not raising equity capital just to buy computer chips. $30 billion of this is to pay off taxes for employee restricted stock units. $30 billion is just to pay the taxes on restricted stock units. They don't have the cash. They're tapped out. They can't go out to Blackstone and raise an SPV for this money. They can't go to the debt markets and raise an $80 billion bond offering. They have to go to equity, and they're issuing the equity at a discount. Some of it's going to go to Berkshire Hathaway at $350, which is like 8% below where the stock's currently trading, or was currently trading.
Yeah, $10 billion to Berkshire Hathaway.
It's and they're doing this, and then they're spending more money to the investment bankers to cover the cost of a covered call transaction, which is basically kind of complicated, but some of this money is going to be preferred stock, which is going to be convertible, and they're worried about dilution, which is like, if you're worried about dilution, then don't issue the equity.
Yeah, please don't.
But what they're doing, so in order to offset the dilution, if the stock goes up, they're buying calls on their own stock, even at the same time that they're selling stock into the open market.
I mean, the only times... it's one of those things where when you learn about stocks, the idea is that when the stock goes up, the company can issue equity to raise capital, and that's more efficient than debt. But it never happens. It just, the only time it really happens is like GameStop.
Yeah,
the price spikes, They have no money. Bang, they issue new stock. They dilute all of the whatever they call themselves.
It's no different than it's no different than a country club model. A really well-run exclusive country club never runs a discount on initiation fees. When a club says, "Hey, we're actually running a promotion," and instead of paying $30,000, making up numbers here, instead of paying $30,000 to join this golf club, you can get in for $5,000. They're in trouble. You don't want more people at your country club. You want fewer, and if we're incentivizing people in, we don't want more shareholders participating in the positives of Google. We want fewer, if anything. And to look at companies of this size that have historically, I would argue, been poor at leveraging their balance sheet, they used for a decade plus low interest rate environments to buy back stock. They borrowed money and bought back stock, took the share count down, and now they're sitting here in a spot in which they have to say, I guess we'll go to capital. We'll just go to the open market.
I mean, it is a good trade. They did buy that stock back at a low price, and now they're selling it at a high price. But companies just never do that. They never do it.
It betrays a lack of planning. Like you were buying $60 billion of stock back a year, just a year and a half, just like 6 months ago. Not even a year and a half ago, half a year ago. And now you're issuing this much stock. Things changed, and you can't claim that you knew this was going to happen. The CFO has been in the position for 2 years now. Formerly, actually came from Eli Lilly in just a corporate finance role. So she doesn't have any investment banking experience. The president of the company does. She worked at Morgan Stanley for a few years. She left in 2010 on the investment banking side. I do wonder a couple things here. Number one, I think that they realized that they were about ready. You're about to go into a quiet period here in the next probably 20 days or so. You've got SpaceX IPO coming. And in Q2, you're going to have to start talking about your 2027 CapEx expectations. I think they're going to be, based on what they allude to here in the press release, I think they're going to be over $300 billion, which will put them into a massive deficit next year on the cash front. And I think that they were going to be asked, how do you plan to cover this? And I think they were going to say all of the above. And the analysts were going to say, wait, does that include equity? And they were going to say, maybe. We're just saying all of the above.
You bet.
And then the analysts are going to say, well, that includes equity. And then they're like, you got to sell the stock because they're going to do an equity issuance.
Yeah.
So like this also falls squarely into the camp of raise money when you can, not when you have to. But
it's crazy.
Boy,
it's crazy that we're there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm shocked. And the question is, who's next now?
I mean, I don't even know this devil's advocate, but perhaps the jobs market is actually going to be just fine because, I mean, you're already starting to see sort of rumors that Microsoft is hemming in how much people are using the AI because it's so expensive. It's certainly possible that we go right back to we're just going to use regular people because they're cheaper than AI, and we're going to have to wait some period of time before AI really gets off the ground because it's so expensive, and we need to get the price down. And, I mean, that's what Google's doing, right? I mean, they're basically spending through the nose on all this AI stuff, past and above and beyond their budget, and it's obviously gone so hard that they overspent what they thought they were going to spend for the full year in a very short period of time, and now they're like, all right, well, we got to dip into the portfolio and sell some stock to pay for this.
I also wonder if they're getting a little bit played by the investment bankers.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
like
I mean, certainly,
100%.
Like, how does an investment bank convince you to do an $80 billion offering with them, and then not only that, not stop there, but then go and actually buy call options on that same stock that you're selling?
Maybe it's our new guy, Greg Abel at Berkshire. He's just out there. He's like, it's my time to be the puppet master.
He's just pantsing, folks.
Yeah, I mean, in a 24-hour period, he's made 2 unbelievable moves. He got Google at a discount. That's pretty hard to do for $10 million. I mean, if he was going to try and do that on the open market, guess what? He pushed the price up, but instead he pushed it down, and that's magic right there.
He's like, if only there were a way I could get a massive stake of this. Hey, Google, don't you need some money?
Yeah, I mean, I'm already in on this guy. I think he's an operator.
Yeah, he's
just based on the last 24 hours.
He's the captain now. Investment banks winning big time off this. NVIDIA continuing to march up, and we're getting some news on agricultural equipment tariffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think this just kind of goes to along the whole lines of I think that companies are I think Google's tapped out. I think the farmers are tapped out. I have questions about Microsoft, Oracle, and Meta. They're going to be asked these questions now too. Are they going to have to come out and issue stock? A lot of supply coming to the market. But again, on the agriculture side, this had been alluded to before, but bringing down agriculture tariffs from 25% to 15%, down to 10% if you produce most of your steel and aluminum here in the United States. So this will be good for deer profitability, but I don't think it's going to really flow through to farmers. Farmers are getting killed by financing costs, fuel costs, fertilizer costs, and low crop prices. So I don't think they're going to be more likely to buy a John Deere tractor, but John Deere is going to make more money every time they sell a tractor.
Meanwhile, SK Hynix, they're saying they're going to double their memory chip capacity over the next 4 years. Big time CapEx increase coming, right in line with what we're seeing everywhere.
I feel like I've been reading to
We're about
Joseph.
to have a lot of supply.
I've been reading to Joseph the Sneetch's book, Dr. Zeus, and I feel like he is like a lot of these memory chip providers and NVIDIA are like the guy who shows up to get the stars taken off and the stars put on, and they're just happy to $3, $10, just keep paying the money, and they're just they're sitting there with their hand out, and they're happy as many Sneetches has come through and as many LLMs want to be produced. Like, hey,
Keep going.
we can keep doing it.
I think we do need to talk about, speaking of old things like Dr. Seuss, the world of stocks is returning very quickly to the 1990s. We were talking about it yesterday, but one of the big headlines today, and it's not really on the call because it doesn't really affect us, and it's a company that for a long time has just been in the toilet, but Hewlett Packard Enterprise is up 30 plus this morning, and that's on the heels of us seeing Dell have a huge win, Intel, IBM, Cisco, all.
I mean, these are all
rocketing.
companies that when I played the stock market game in like 7th grade, it was like, oh, I got some Dell.
I mean, what's old is new again, and the irony is that the original tech companies are seemingly the ones that are benefiting the most this year from new tech. It's fascinating to watch. Unfortunately, we don't own HPE because it's, just a terrible company. Shout out Carly Fiorina. That was her name, right? The woman who ran for president, who was the...
And that was even before they were HPE.
Yeah, that was before they split.
Yeah, she was the architect of splitting HPE to HPQ back when, people forget, but laser printers, big business at one point in time.
Yeah.
So, it's the Wild West out there right now. You're seeing
tough,
huge
man.
companies make bad moves. You're making companies no one's thought about in 15 years suddenly be up 30% because they're a net benefactor of all that CapEx. It's just we're in a strange environment. SanDisk, we were talking about maybe we need to figure out who owns Macromedia Flash.
Yeah.
We're
thinking old school, like, oh, we got to update Java again. Who owns that?
Yeah, who owns Java? What are the things that we all talked about at age 13 and 14 and Ben was 9?
It's just brutal that we can't just pour money into Yahoo.
Yeah. R.I.P. And Ask Jeeves went dark just a few weeks ago. The original AI.
Remember
the original
Gateway?
chatbot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gateway. Yeah.
Dude, when we got a gateway in the cow box.
Yeah. We're Circuit City when you need it.
Yeah. Like, dude, we got a 256 or whatever.
Circuit City was the cool place to work. Like I feel like a teenager who was like 4
I won't
or 5
tell
years
Honey
older
Baked
than me.
Ham you said that.
Yeah.
But
like our Service Depot.
I just remember thinking like the 16 and 17-year-olds who worked at Circuit when I was like 10 worked at Circuit City were so cool because they got like the speakers and the audio systems and they had like the CD-ROMs.
Hi-Fi Buys, a tweeter company.
Man, Hi-Fi Buys.
We need to bring back something like a Service Depot where you just go into a showroom.
Yep.
You just go look at stuff in glass cases, and then you got to ask somebody up front to deliver it to you at the cash register.
Do you have more of that? Yeah.
Because that was a real model of the
Yeah.
late 80s, early 90s that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Let's bring it back. All right. We'll wrap it up there. Y'all have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow.